My name is Bill Pritchard. I'm a member of the Rotary Club of La Crosse After Hours. I've been a Rotarian for 15 years, and it's my honor to visit with you today as the District Governor for District 6250 and for the 2020-21 year. I come to you today from my Rotary COVID Event Center. It's a repurposed bedroom in my home in Holmen here that I've turned into a broadcasting studio for our time together today. Now, our district, Rotary District 6250, is a collection of 60 dynamic clubs that represent almost 2,700 Rotarians that cover central and western Wisconsin, including a few little burgs over in Minnesota. So our district stretches all the way from Menominee and Eau Claire in our northwest, over to Wisconsin Rapids in our northeast, down to Beloit in the southeast, and across to Platteville in the southwest. We actually stretch as far west as Caledonia, Minnesota, as far east as Waupun, Wisconsin. And together we see a world where people unite to take action, to create lasting change across the globe, in our various communities, and certainly in ourselves. Now, you're in for a real treat this evening. I mean, if there was ever contemplated a Mount Rushmore that recognized dynamic leaders within Rotary, two of your speakers tonight would likely be on that monument. Yeah, they'd be Mary Beth Growney-Celine and Ed Fuda. You know, it's an honor to be on this call with them tonight. I feel like I'm barely qualified to hold the broom that's cleaning up the granite shards beneath the monument. These are fantastic speakers. You're in for a real treat. You know, I never guessed that I'd be addressing you tonight in this format. You know, our world is a different place now, and it's changed in significant ways because of the COVID pandemic. I mean, it's a new world. It's a time of COVID. And we find it challenging to keep in connection with our friends and our family. And within Rotary, we find the same challenges, staying connected with our Rotary friends and our Rotary family. I mean, what was once normal, it's no longer normal. It's abnormal. And so abnormal is our new normal. You know, and it's also kind of challenging sometimes during these challenging times to keep a positive attitude. I mean, it can be hard to keep a smile on your face when all around us we see grim statistics of the virus. We see our friends and some of our neighbors struggling to even maintain jobs or to keep their businesses solvent, or we suffer ourselves from not seeing family and loved ones for long stretches of time. And I know these concerns are real, but you won't see me with my head down because I'm lucky enough to be the district governor for this district. And this year I get to travel virtually to all the corners of our district and witness some truly remarkable things that these 60 groups of dynamic individuals do. And it's from the little tiny things to the biggest things that change the world. And each of our clubs truly makes a difference in their communities and in our world. So first off, I think it's really important to recognize these seemingly little things that Rotary clubs do. They support hundreds of projects within our communities. They support programs that promote basic education and literacy. They assist programs in doing good works in maternal and child health. They build playgrounds. They build shelters. They plant gardens. They create parks. In nearby Mount Horeb, they actually have raised over $50,000 to assist neighbors helping neighbors at their food pantry. In Richland County, they raised about $47,000 to help renovate the venerable Richland County Fairgrounds. Stoughton provides a little over $40,000 to improve the Stoughton Area Rotary Park. And Sun Prairie helps provide the funds for a new refrigeration equipment for the Colonial Meals program. And all those programs I just listed for you have happened since July. That is what happens, and you can't help but smile and feel good when you find and belong to this organization that makes your communities a better place to live, a better place to raise families, a better place to build community. And yet there's so much more that our Rotary clubs do. I mean, through the works of our Rotary International Foundation, our Rotary clubs literally change the world. I mean, our Madison area clubs are directly involved in projects that are making our world a better place. The Madison Downtown Rotary Club is working directly on a project with Ghana called In School Every Day, on a 3-year project that provides hygienic stations for young girls so they can attend school all the time, not just when it's convenient. The Rotary Club of Madison Breakfast is working on a water project that builds wells and provides clean water for Zapote, Guatemala. Madison South is actively involved in a water and sanitation project in the Guatemalan villages of, I'm going to get it here, Pavit and Ixaquin. I might have gotten that screwed up, but give me a break. And the Rotary Club of Westtown Middleton is also involved in Guatemala, working on a project to educate Guatemalan birth attendants. Now, each of these projects are a labor, pardon the pun, of love for each of these dynamic Rotary clubs in the Madison area. And you cannot help but be moved and deeply affected by the pride one feels and a sense of accomplishment of helping and serving others in our communities and around the world. And you know what? Your phone and your email contact list begins to overflow with the friends that you develop around this world, and the world becomes a surprisingly small place. I mean, it's not uncommon for me to attend a Rotary event somewhere in the world and not have someone come up to me and thank me for something that our part of Wisconsin is doing to help others somewhere. I mean, I was just in Kansas City this past fall, and a man searched me out at a conference to thank me for the good work of the good people of Madison on the Wisconsin Books for the World project. This project sends used books and materials to schools all over the place. And all I could do is smile and say thank you. And be sure to share the best wishes with the fine people of Madison, a few of which I know are on this Zoom. And that makes these projects happen every single year, and it makes every one of us smile with a smile that is wrapped behind our earlobes. I mean, your world is changed when you get involved in Rotary. It's changed directly. It's changed firsthand. I mean, it's virtually impossible not to be changed. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I live over here on the far west side of the state in La Crosse, Wisconsin. But let me share a little story with you of something that happened to me last year that has connected me, it's connected the Rotarians of the La Crosse area, and it's connected all the Rotarians of Rotary District 6250 to the Zabuli Education Center, an all-girl K through 12 school in the district of Debsus in Afghanistan. It's about 30 miles northeast of Kabul. And the story begins for me at the Rotary District Conference held here in La Crosse by District Governor Bill Hole, I think, who was on this call. At that conference, he invited a guest to speak at the conference whose name is Rajia Jan. And Rajia was this little lady. You can go look her up online. Some of us are smiling. We've seen her on this call and other calls. She's this little force of nature. She is a CNN hero. And if you don't know what a CNN hero is, go look that up. These are people that literally change the world. And I remember at this conference, they started off by showing a video that was done on CNN. And I mean, just picture this little lady sitting in this street. And you now picture the men walking by. You know, they're just peacocking by. And in one of these videos, the man turns and spits on the ground at her. And Razia literally chases the dude down the street and lets him have it right in the middle of the street. This lady is impactful. And during Bill's conference, one of the most common things at a conference when someone is done speaking, you are speaking to a room full of people who literally can look and make these projects happen that can change people's lives. And then earlier in the conference, one of the presenters did a fine job. It was a beautiful presentation. And at the end, it's not uncommon for a Rotarian to look and raise their hand and say, listen, we were really moved by your project. How could we help you? Is there a way that we can help you advance your cause? And this particular person asked us to spread the good news, to make sure we communicated with others and tell the story. That's good. Razia gets done with her presentation and it's a little different, okay? Razia gets done with her presentation and someone stands up and asks the same style of question. You know, what could we possibly do to help you? And she looks straight in the audience and says, I need a bus. Straight up, she needs a bus. And this room looked around each other and heads started to nod. And you know what? We said, we're going to get her a bus. Fast forward to this year in March in Chicago, Illinois. The Rotary International presidents of the clubs from this part of the world all gather together for their training. Razia is brought back to present to that group. And while she gets off the airplane, she receives a bad piece of news. She receives this news, and again, imagine in Afghanistan, she's teaching girls, and girls don't get an education in Afghanistan. She's kind of the only game in town. And so imagine it's a recording, right? The crap she is taking from people in the government trying to shut her down. And she finds when she gets off the plane that the government of Afghanistan, or at least the area that she's in, throws her a curveball and basically says, you know, all those school books you're using, we no longer approve of them. You got to pull them off your shelves, and you got a week to get new ones, or we're going to shut you down. And she is angry. She's not only fearful for her girls, she's angry. And so she tells a few of the presidents at that meeting who remember seeing her at Bill's conference. Now, we're having a hospitality room later that night. I was drinking club soda. And somebody grabs me out of the room and takes me outside and says, did you hear about this? And I said, no. And they said, we got to do something. And what I'm here to tell you without going into great detail is within 12 hours, honestly, by noon the next day, we had put together the resources to be able to get her the books, to get them home and get that school staying open. And you could not wipe the pride off of every one of us that was there. Some of us were on that call. It was extraordinary. And so for me, my greatest gifts that I've gotten from Rotary, I'm not a sophisticated person. I'm just an economist who's a geek who likes to sit around and read books. But for me, Rotary is like the menu at the best restaurants in the world, that I can choose these things and be involved in these opportunities that literally change the world. Post-mortem on Razia's thing, we're pretty close, Bill, right, of getting that bus locked up. We're pretty darn close. And I just heard a story this last week that the bus that they had been using around broke down. And so some of these young ladies had to walk to school. And a few of those young ladies were actually taken and had some things done to them. And I can tell you that my commitment went up 1,000%. Bill, others on this call, we will get them that bus as fast as we can with whatever it takes from me and anyone else to get that bus, because we're going to change their world too. My last thing for all of you on this call that may not be Rotarians and are taking a look around. Remember when I started and I said it's the small things? It's easy sometimes to get wrapped up into these big things. But remember the small things. And as my example to you of the small things, I encourage you to take a little walk with me. When you're done with this call, take a little walk on Facebook. Go out and search on your Facebook thing. Search the Rotary Club of Madison South. Search the Rotary Club of Madison Breakfast. Search the Rotary Club of Madison After Hours. Search the Rotary Club of Madison Westtown Middleton. And just take a look at the projects that they have been involved in their communities, helping people locally in just the past few months in this time of COVID. And tell me that you won't walk away inspired. And so I personally invite you to join us in a Rotary Club in the Madison area. I mean, who knows, your life may be changed as well.